Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Thursday, December the 3rd. The year's 2020. Let's talk trading. We're going to do instinct versus intuition versus impulse. Part 2. We've got Walmal on the line, but before we get started, let me remind you these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and differ from Walmal's. Walmal, so how do you define instinct, intuition, and impulse?
I think they were actually pretty close to how you defined them yesterday. But if while we were getting ready to go and do this video, I was actually writing some quick little notes on my screen. I know that you usually don't do that. You like to go and wing things a little bit more than I do, but I have to go and do that just to have my brain going correctly. But in terms of instinct. What I wrote down is a natural impulse or inclination or tendency. Okay, so that's what instinct is. It's just something that's just innate within you, something that's just part of who you are. Okay, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. Whereas intuition, on the other end, it's an immediate apprehension. Okay, a clean and quick insight as to what's going on. But it's not just that. What you're doing is you're doing that based on some type of previous observation. So let me go and define that a little bit. So you got those two terms there, and I think they go hand in hand, but they're different from each other. Okay, so with intuition, what you're doing is, I'm sitting here looking at a chart, and we were just talking about this a few minutes ago. You asked me a question. Did you notice that did you notice that the pound dollar likes to go and launch off of the 40 line or off the 40 zone? And I said, no, I hadn't. It's not something that I had observed before, but once you showed it to me, it was pretty stinking obvious. It happens time in and time again. You get into that zone, price falls down into that area, and it just launches through there, back up to the upside, and usually back up to the 60 line. And that's just, that's now what I can do is, knowing that, I can now say, okay, I've seen this in the past. I've seen it happen over and over again. And now it becomes an intuition. Sometimes I can go and actually be looking at a chart, not even thinking about that and what actually happens, but actually get myself into a trade or get myself out of a trade because of intuition. I know this price is going to go and drop, or I know this is going to launch in the upward direction because I've fallen into that zone. Maybe it's time to get out, and that's just an intuition based on observed things in the past. Whereas instinct, on the other hand, it's I think it's more of a something that just happens innately, and meaning what I mean by that is that you just get that gut feel. You ever meet somebody who's like, I'm just not going to go and do that. I have a gut feel this is going to go bad. I'll give you a personal story about something like this, and this happened back in the 80s, long time ago. I was driving down a service road on an interstate because I had just gotten off the interstate, and there was a road that went underneath the interstate, and it was blocked by pretty high hills on both sides. And what happened was I had a green light, and I should have just gone through the green light, but I just had this instinct, just stop. And I stopped, and out of nowhere, 3 cars come flying through, busting the red light. And if I had not stopped, I would have certainly gotten injured, if not killed. I don't know why I stopped. I have no idea. And I believe that just is a natural impulse, a natural thing that just happened, and there's no reason for it. It just happens. So how do you relate that to trading? Well, I think there's 2 parts to it. One, in terms of intuition, you got to take your observations, the things that you have, write them down, learn them, make them part of your cognitive thought process, and that will make you a better trader. And in terms of instinct, there are instincts that are both good and there are instincts that are bad. Know your good instincts, know your bad instincts, and then go and put your rules to go and foster your good instincts, and at the same time put rules in place to go and stop you from doing things that you know you have troubles with. I know I'm an impulse type person. I could press the trade button all day long, and TRO he'll go vouch for that. But I know that's part of what I do. And in fact, we had news coming out, probably about 30 minutes ago or so, and I went and said to Hero, I'm walking away from the desk. I got some stuff I got to do outside real quick. I am not going to trade right now because we had a big news event come out, and I had to go and do that to get away because my natural impulse, my instinctive reaction was going to go press the trade button. And so that was something that I put a rule in place just right then and there just to go prevent myself from doing something stupid. In fact, I think I said to you, I need to go and do something. I need to get out of here before I go and do something and I get tempted by something, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Now, how do you define impulse? Because you've used it, but you really haven't defined it yet.
Okay, an impulse is more of something that you just do it. Okay, that's just sort of like I would define it as sort of like when we go and we're trading. And you just go and take an airball trade. You see momentum, okay, bam, you hit the buy button. You see it running up, you just bam, hit the buy button. I try not to do that because what I've learned through intuition and through observation is that more times than not, it's sort of like trying to catch a falling sword. You get cut up pretty bad on it because it turns around on you and nails you. Sometimes you get away with it. Most of the time, for me anyway, I don't get away with it. I usually when I go and do that, I get nailed.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Now, the one thing about instinct, I think we might differ is that you said instinct is natural. I think instinct can also be something that has been learned and has become internalized. So, for example,
correct.
If you're on the chart, and we're looking at Walmal lines, it's like, you could sit down at the chart, see the candle at the line, and it's an instinct, boom, you jump in that trade, or you see it hit the previous H1 high and it's a green candle going up. It's like you don't think about it. It's just natural. You just do it. Instinct.
Right. Yep.
So
I would agree with you.
Yeah, so I think instinct is something that it is internal, but it can be natural, where you're born with an instinct, or it could be a learned thing that you've done through repetition. I mean, you play baseball, there's certain batters do certain things, or at certain times you just have that instinct that this is what's going to happen. I mean, it's like I can watch a football game and I can tell you more often than not almost what direction the play is going to go in. I do it a lot. It's not like I can't do it every play, but it's like if it's a 3rd down and 2, and they come out, they break out the formation, I'm going to go run right, or it's like, pass left, and I'm right more than 50% of the time.
Yeah, and that comes down to what I say all the time.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's a trader that I kind of beat up sometimes because he likes to jump from pair to pair to pair. And part of that is that you need to go and go and just trade one pair, one instrument. Know that thing intimately, and I think that's what goes and teaches you that teaching part of it, of instinct that you're talking about, because it's sort of like when you get married. If you're in a good marriage, you wind up completing the sentences of your wife. Your wife winds up completing your sentences, and that's just what tends to happen because you get to know that person that intimately and that well.
Hey, we need to be politically correct so this video doesn't get flagged. It would be your spouse.
Oh, sorry, sorry, I'm old school. I'm old.
We might have some non-binary traders here, so we don't want to be offensive to anybody. So.
Yeah. But in any case, you get used to that. Well, the thing is, I trade basically 99.99% of my trades are all on the pound dollar. I'm not going to go and say that I don't trade on other things from time to time. I do, but it's a very, very rare thing that I do. And the reason why is because, I've been trading the pound dollar now since, I guess, 2005, 2007, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
I know when this thing does, if this thing does anything, I can go and say, yeah, that's normal. Okay, that's okay. That's unusual, but it's not that unusual. It happens from time to time. Oh, that's really, really strange. You know what? Close the platform. I'm not getting involved in any of this.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money I could make.
Yeah. I just over to the monthly chart on the pound. We got about 5 minutes left. And I thought, once again, since we're talking about instinct, intuition, impulse, if you look at the monthly chart, we're like at the high of June of 2018. We're just below the high of December 2019, and we're just below the high of September 2020. So what do your instincts tell you right now?
My instincts tell me right now that what it's going to do is, I'm not going to go and be a forecaster, but what I will go and say is that, we're going to go and see some type of, trouble happening somewhere around, 3484, which is from September, that number there. It's going to come, you like to go and talk about the pairs don't like to stay in weak zones. I agree with you. And so what it's going to do is it's going to get to that number, and what it'll do is it's going to bust out of that, probably for, I don't know, it may go to the moon, or what it may do is just turn around, come right back into the wick zone and run back the other way. But there's going to be some type of action that's going to happen at that 34, 3480, 3484, somewhere around that range.
Right.
And then if it does break that and goes to the higher, we're going to see the exact same thing that's going to happen up at 3514, 3515, because of back in when was that? That was back in
a year ago, December.
Yeah. And we're going to have the same type of play going to happen there. Here's the great thing about it. I can draw a line at those two places. And what do we say? We're doing horizontal line trading, aren't we? So what I can do is I can play that line, because what's more than likely going to happen is it's going to get to that line. And when it gets there, it's going to go and bust through it. And maybe it only bust through it by 1, 2 pips, 3 pips, something like that. But I can make 1, 2, 3 pips off of that deal. Or it may, if I get lucky, it could bust through and run all the way up, to that other number. In that case, instead of sitting there getting 1 or 2 pips, I could be getting 30 pips, and probably my inclination, now there's two lines of thought. My inclination is get my money out of the bank, get my money off the trading platform at that point and put it into the bank it. Now, I know other traders, what they say, we're at the next level. What I can go and do is I can go and move my stop all the way up, okay, so that I can't take a loss, and even cover what my potential loss is, and then put another long trade in at 35.15. That's another way of playing that. So that way, basically, I've got 2 free trades, and I've got maybe 10 pips or so in the bank as well. So that's another way of playing. I don't play that way. I just look at it as, okay, I'll take my 30 pips off the table and I'll put them in the bank and love every minute of it. Whereas I don't want to have to go and do that. And part of the reason why I don't do that is because I know myself that by the time I get to that point, because I'm watching the trade and I'm so engaged with that trade, I'm starting to get tired. I'm likely to go and make mistakes. Whereas I know other traders go and say, no, they just go and put it in, hold it, and it doesn't affect them. That's part of knowing who you are, though. So I know there's one particular trader out there who I've talked to, through the forums and stuff, and I know what he's going to say. I know what he's going to say on this video, because his idea is what I said, my second option, and he's right, because you can make a lot more money that way. There's no question about it. You can make a lot more money that way, but it's just not what I do. It's not who I am.
Well, it's funny, but the fastest 15 minutes in trading is just about up. So I hope all you traders out there can, take some of what we've talked about here about the instincts, the intuition, and the impulse, and, try and mitigate your impulses and, build up your intuition and your instincts, by trading what you see. Because as Walmal said, he didn't see the 40, I did, but he saw the 60 and I didn't see the 60. So you really have to trade what you see, because it's not what you trade, it's how you traded. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.